All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for Kineo Totara Office Hours. Today, we're going to be talking about a few new settings in 2.9. If you've been joining us for the last couple of weeks, you know that we've been talking about new features in 2.9, kind of talking about how you turn those on, where they're located, why you might use them. Today, the ones that we're going to talk about, there are some new audience settings, and that screen looks a little bit different. So really neat things that are in store there. We also have some new program settings that I know a lot of people have been asking for quite some time. And it's one major change, but it's really kind of neat. So let's get started. A little bit about myself for those of you who don't know. My name is Taylor Craig, and I am a platforms consultant here at Kineo. My job is to train any of our existing clients. I work with our sales team for our potential clients. I work with quite a few different folks here at Kineo to make sure that you guys are trained up and comfortable with your solution that our awesome solution architects put in place for you. So that is my job here. A little bit about office hours. What we do is we go over a 15-20 minute conversation over just something Totara. Right now we're doing 2.9 new settings. We've done anything and everything, but if you have any ideas, feel free to send them my way. You will receive an email at the end of this session. I think it comes to you tomorrow. You should receive an email. In that email you will have a link to provide anything that you want to see or discuss in office hours. We'll be glad to put that on our list. We do have a 45-minute session of client-only time. So in that particular piece of time, you are asked to bring any of your questions to us that we can answer. It's basically free training, so come on out and have some fun with me, and hopefully I can answer your question. If I can't, I bet I can find somebody who can. So let us know any of your questions, but that part is for clients only. We do post the 15 minutes back to YouTube for you or anyone else who may need it. So again, as I said, today we're talking about some new audience settings and some new program settings. Let's go ahead and jump on in. So I'm going to pull this across. So first and foremost, let's take a look at those new audience settings. I am in as an administrator over here. I'm normally an admin in Chrome, so I threw myself off there. All right, so underneath site administration, users, accounts, and audiences, you're familiar with that path. That has all stayed the same. However, it does look a little bit different. If you're really familiar with the audiences screen, you're probably going, hey, what are all these tabs? Because you do now have tabs that are available to you. So we have the tab called All Audiences, which allows us to see every single audience in the system. You also have the ability to now export those. So it exports into an Excel, ODS, PDF, or PDF landscape or portrait. So you can export this and you can see all of the different audiences on your site. You also have the ability to duplicate audiences. Not sure if you were aware of that. I believe that actually came about in about 2.7, but you do have the ability to copy these audiences if you need to do that. You've got your System Audiences tab. That's for typically most of your audiences are going to be at the system level, but it's showing us, it looks exactly the same in this sense, so we've got that there. And now to add a new audience, you go to the Add a New Audience tab. In the past, it was just a button that was located at the top. It is now in a tabular type format. You simply click on the Add a New Audience option, and everything from this point is still very much the same. However, I do want to show you this new feature called Upload Audiences. This is actually linking to a Moodle setting that's been there for a while, but that was to upload cohorts. Audiences are built off of the Moodle functionality called cohorts, except Totara took that and expanded upon it and made audiences. So there's quite a lot more that you can do, but if you have a need to build out multiple set audiences, now keep in mind this doesn't actually populate users to those audiences, but you can build out set audiences using a CSV file. The CSV file looks very similar to this one. This is a very simplistic example. Okay, but you have name, ID number, and description, so that is going to give you that option. You can put in a few additional fields. You can put in context, the category, where it belongs, things like that. Typically, however, your context is always going to be system, so it is going to just go ahead and place that into the system area. So if I change a couple things about this file, and I'm going to save this. I'm going to save it to my desktop so that I can find it. You'll also notice that I am saving this as a CSV, and it is a comma delimited file. So I'm going to go ahead and save, and I'm going to go ahead and continue using the CSV format. And then what we're going to do from here is we're going to grab that file, try to make that a little smaller, grab that and drop it in. And then we are going to go ahead and preview. So this is going to let me see what I'm building out. So I'm building out new audience 2, NA2. This is a new audience. It's telling me where it's placing it. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to say upload this audience. Say continue. Okay, and then I do see my new audience is created and it is located here. Again, this only builds out set audiences. It doesn't build out dynamic audiences, but it will allow you to build out at least the structure and you don't have to step through everything. Okay, so something to be aware of, a newer feature that is available to you. Okay. Another feature that I want to show you guys is actually a new feature to dynamic audiences. So I'm going to come in here and we're just going to take a look at my audience that I have set up. And we are going to take a look at the rule sets option. There are 2 new checkboxes at the top of every dynamic audience now where you can say make a user a member when they meet the rule set criteria, which is what a standard dynamic audience does already, is it makes them a member of that audience if they meet the rule sets. We're all familiar with that already. And we can also say remove the user's membership when they no longer meet the rule sets or criteria. So those are the 2 things that make a dynamic audience dynamic. And now you have the ability to control and turn those off and on at will. So if you want to use the dynamic audience functionality to build your audience and get all those people into that audience, but then you don't want to ever kick them out of that audience, you still want it to kind of function more so like a set audience where you're manually handling that, you can uncheck the remove users membership when they no longer meet the criteria, meaning that it's going to populate the audience based on the criteria, but it's not going to kick people out when they no longer meet that criteria. There are some different use cases for that. Some people would really like that because they don't have to manually, at least don't have to manually build the audience, but then it's just kind of, it's there and it's set and it stays where it's at. Okay, and you can do the same thing here. You can remove membership and then put them in how you want to, but then also kick them out when they no longer meet the criteria. So you can do a combination of the 2 or neither one of them. Okay, so that's going to be one of your newest features to audiences. Just want to keep you aware of that and make you aware of that there. Okay, and it's going to function otherwise like a dynamic audience. So let's take a look at programs. I want to take a look at programs from a learner's perspective so that we can see kind of what that looks like to the learner. I'm going to go into my required learning. So my learner here is a part of the new manager program. And I have the ability here to see phase 1, and then this is the big new feature. We have the ability to say and now, between. So used to we only had then and or. Now we have then, or, and. So what we can say is that our learners have to complete phase 1 and phase 2, then they can move on to phase 3. So you'll notice that we don't get an arrow until we have this set up. So basically the learner has to meet the criteria in phase 1 and in phase 2 before they're able to continue. So another reason that we like this and option now is because it gives you the ability to group courses and display it in a certain way to your learners. So you can display that content and you don't have to have multiple course sets. You can do multiple course sets, break it up, and kind of give your learners a little more information and a little more structure to how they're moving through these courses. Another option that you'll notice up here in older versions, when you did have due dates set, the learners could actually request an extension. That is now something that can be turned off at the site administrative level. So something to keep in mind and something to be aware of. These are two new really cool features that I was excited about and I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions about this or anything else, feel free to let me know. And I am going to turn the floor back over to you guys. Thanks so much for joining. If you have any questions, let me know and I will open your mic or you can type it into the question field.